What if a team that has beaten Arsenal 3 times at the Emirates comes back again, but are smarter? What if Brighton, with a young manager, have found the exact weakness with Mikel Arteta's build-up game? What if this is not a routine cup tie game as we think? This is the Pavilion debrief, and we're talking Arsenal versus Brighton and why this might be the most analytical chess match of the Carabao Cup. Guys, let's get into it. Okay, so Arsenal come into this game after a professional run in the Premier League. 1-0 to the Arsenal, defensively solid, top of Europe, and currently now controlling their destiny in the Premier League. But Brighton, guys, don't sleep on them. Under their new boss, Fabian Husler, they're quietly built as one of the smartest teams in Europe, especially in England right now. So if we look at the stats, they're very, very data-driven. Of course, they've won 3 of their last 5 visits to the Emirates, so this is going to give them a turn of confidence. And they also smashed Burnley 6-0 in the last round. So that means that they actually take this cup game very, very seriously. So yeah, Brighton are not turning up at the Emirates to take selfies at the tunnel. They're going to be turning up to actually test, Arsenal. Now let's look at the blueprint for Brighton. Brighton is an evolution of De Zerbi's team. High press, smart rotations, and they're terrifyingly organized at the back as well. And according to Opta, they average about 7.9 turnovers per game, and that's top 5 in the league. They also score 23% of goals from their set pieces, especially from knockdowns, second attempts at the ball. They're third best in England right now. And that means that Brighton are going to be looking to press our keeper. I expect Kepa to play in this game. I'm going to talk about who I think might play in this game. And they're going to be looking to trap our midfielders. Probably Rice does not play. Christian Norgan might be playing in this game. And they're going to test Arsenal's reaction to second balls. So we're going to have to watch out for that in this game. I'll expect the likes of Mitoma to probably start this game and hover around that halfway line. They like to do that. They like to hover around the halfway line and hope for bad balls to really pounce on that transition. So we've got to be careful about the transitions, from Brighton. And if they get corners early, I fully expect the likes of Milner and Belieber to be standing at the edge of the box to try and look out for those knockdowns. So what does Arsenal have to do to combat this from Brighton? I think for Arsenal, this game is going to be about discipline and tempo control. I think that we cannot afford to be slow, even though that we might be tempted to do that because Brighton set up a lot of traps when teams try to break them down by building up very, very slowly. And this is going to be key because they want you to play through those traps that they've set. So we're going to need to go wide very quickly, switch flanks very quickly. I know this is easier said than done, but I think Saka will start this game. I also expect Martinelli will start this game because I think we're going to need the pace of those two at the flanks to be able to combat those traps that Brighton are going to set in the middle of the pack. Eze is going to be key in this game. I expect him to start this game as well. And maybe there might be a temptation for Nwaneri to start. But I will want to see Eze because I think that Eze's ability to turn, can actually break the lines for Brighton because they're going to be very, very organized and we need a player that can easily get the ball, do a half turn and break through those lines. I expect Miles Lewis-Skelly to play in this game. I think he can excel in that job to come into the midfield, try and drag some of the Brighton players in and, advance through and get to the final third. And I expect Martinelli to target that space behind. I think that's going to be key because Brighton will give you spaces. There's no question about that. And we need to take advantage of that. And let's not forget, Brighton concede about 1.3 um, goals a game per 90, which means that if you are patient, you actually get a chance to score. As much as they're sound defensively, they also do give up goals, and Arsenal need to take advantage of that. I think for Brighton, it's going to be about Diego Gomez. He hit four in the last round against Barnsley. I think he starts this game, as well. He's only 21-year-old, but he looks a lot of promise. I don't know how Brighton do it, how they always keep going and finding these gems that nobody else is scouting for. They are undoubtedly one of the best scouters in the league. There's no question about that. They always find, these players that, no one is looking at, but they come in and they're just effective and they thrive. And maybe because they don't come in with the pressure coming to a big club like Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, everyone is expecting you to hit the ground running no matter what the age is. But Brighton can kind of go under the radar, and maybe that's something that really, really helps them in terms of how they keep turning out all of this talent. Um, I think he likes to ghost a little bit into half spaces, and you don't notice him until he scores. So I think this is going to be really key about our discipline. Someone needs to be making sure that they see him at all times, especially when Brighton are progressing with the ball. And he's quick as well, deceptively quick. So when I look at the lineup, I expect some rotations in this game, but I would expect probably Gabriel to start this game, maybe with Mosquera coming in or Hincapié coming into this game. I'm going to do the lineup that I think will play in this game as well. But every press from Brighton always start with the keeper. So Kepa is going to be in his P's and Q's. He can't look panicky. He can't look like he's chaos. And he can't look like he's not played in a lot of games, right? Because if he does, Brighton are going to feed on that. So who do I think, are going to play in this game for Arsenal? I think Kepa starts in goal. I think you've got Ben White on the right. I think it's going to be Gabriel and one of Hincapié or Mosquera. Probably it's time for Hincapié to make a debut as well in Arsenal. This might be the game to give him that debut. We're playing at the Emirates as well, so it might be an opportunity to do that. And then on the left, you got Mars Lewis Kelly. Then I think that in the midfield, you're going to have Christian Norgard. He's going to come into that midfield as well. I would expect Merino to also start in this game, but that makes that there's a question mark about who actually starts up front, because I think that that's where Arsenal might make a change as well, because I think Victor Gyokeres deserves a rest. So maybe one of Rice or Zubimendi is going to have to start. I think that Zubimendi might be the one to start in this game, because I think we need to give Rice. We've got some very difficult away games coming, and Rice is going to be crucial to that. So might just see. Actually, we may actually see Waneri come into this game. So probably we're going to have T. Christian Norgard, then have Waneri, and then have Eze, play in the game. And then you might have, Trossard. I think Martinelli comes into this game. So I'm going to go Martinelli. I'm going to go Saka on the right because I think he's going to play Saka, and then probably Merino up front. There is a part of me, that might think that Mikel Arteta might want to play Trossard in this game, maybe just behind Merino, because he has that ability to drift in and between the defenders to try and make something happen. This is going to be a tough, prediction in terms of who starts this game, because this is not a team that you can just roll out anyone to play. Brighton are going to test Arsenal, and if we need to go far in this competition, I think we need to have a strong, balanced team. And because of that, my prediction for this game, I am going to be going 2-1 to the Arsenal. I think that Brighton have the capability to score in this game, and with the defense being slightly different from the Premier League, I think Brighton might have a chance. So 2-1 to to Brighton. And that's the real question, goodness, right? Do we think that Arsenal are finally ready to turn the Emirates into a fortress? Because this is what we need to do to keep the momentum going. I think there are people that are waiting to pounce on Arsenal. So any negativity is going to get a lot of media attention. Uh, and do we actually prevent Brighton for getting another win at the Emirates? I think that's so important. Guys, hit that like and subscribe button. This has been our Arsenal preview of Arsenal versus Brighton in the Carabao Cup. Drop in your comments. Let me know what your predictions are. Share this with as many people as you can in the Arsenal family. I appreciate all of you that keep coming and watching this. And I'll see you at the debrief, win, lose, or draw, for 3 ups and 3 downs.